I ruined my relationship with my daughter because I accidentally dated someone she had a relationship with in the past, and now she wants to cut contact with me over nothing. I, 51M, have been dating my girlfriend Millie for just over 6 months. My wife died 4 years ago and this is my longest relationship since. However, my daughter Bianca, 21F, disapproves. She has a lot of issues with me and Millie, but the main ones are the way we met, through a website, and that I moved Millie into our house fairly quickly after 3 months. In my defense, losing my wife much earlier than I had ever imagined really taught me to seize and enjoy each moment, and it just felt right to both of us to have Millie there with me permanently. 2 months ago, Bianca and Millie got in dispute over our spare room, which Bianca uses as a music space, but Millie wanted to convert into a shooting space for social media, which is her job. I took Millie's side since she's going to be here longer term, so Bianca sped up her plans to move out to the next week and asked that I warn her if Millie's going to be present at any event or visit. Anyway, last week I thought it would be nice to treat Millie for her birthday, and she asked for a shopping trip and dinner out, which I was happy to do. The issue is she specifically asked to go to a restaurant where Bianca works as a waitress, since it's known as one of the most exclusive and classy places in our town. I knew Bianca was working that day, but figured it would be alright since it's a large restaurant and a special occasion. When we arrived, we were given another server, so I thought everything was okay. About 15 minutes later, Bianca walked out from the kitchen and immediately saw us sitting there, then walked straight back without even saying hi. She kept passing the table and silently glaring daggers at Millie, which was just unnecessary when Millie tried to be polite. Millie then asked Bianca for the bill, because she was the nearest waitress, and Bianca slapped it down on the table wordlessly, then sent another waitress to see us out. Later I called her and asked why she had behaved like a child. Bianca said that me and Millie had been deliberately flirting to upset her, which is untrue. The most that happened was a couple of kisses and a bit of footsie/giggling. Bianca also claims that when I briefly left to use the toilet, Millie called her over and told her not to contact me for the next few days as we would be too busy engaging in private activities. I find it hard to believe Bianca, because Millie has made an effort to bond with her through organizing girly activities among other things, while Bianca has a history of manipulating others to get her way. Bianca then told me she wants no contact with Millie or with me apart from at family gatherings. My family is split over the issue, and my ex-wife's sister called to cuss me out for neglecting Bianca, who is still grieving her mother. I understand that Bianca and Millie have their issues and Bianca misses her mother, but Bianca was at work and I think she should have been more professional. Update, which is from the daughter's POV.
Hey everyone. This is Bianca talking. After I saw the thread made with Dad's post and my roommate encouraged me to make an account to at least try to defend myself. I hope at least some of you hear me out. What my dad says has grains of truth but is so far from the full story it's basically BS. My mom did die when I was 17, and me and Dad were actually very close. He started dating again a couple years after she died and I was always very supportive until Millie came along. Regardless of what Dad says, me and Millie had an emotional relationship lasting several months which ended in a massive bust-up and us losing contacts, and he was aware of this when I told him I recognized her. He brushed it aside and told me I would get used to it and we would be introduced gradually. I was stupid and believed his shit. He moved her into the house without asking me, while I was visiting Mom's family for the week. She did not try to bond with me, she used our shopping days and trips as an excuse to get money off Dad for herself. She cried and begged Dad until he got rid of my music room, and he fell for it. I asked them not to be intimate when I was around because I was uncomfortable. They ignored me. Millie and Dad have since tried to contact me regularly and have shown up in unexpected places. They showed up at my church, they have apparently visited my work and asked my friends if I'm there. They have even tried messaging me to ask when I'm visiting Mom's grave and I want them to join. They are despicable people who deserve to be cut off. I would love to hear Dad's explanation of why I'm manipulative. Until then, thanks to everyone looking out for me again.
Update 2, from now on they will be the dad's POV. I, 52M, have a daughter Bianca, 23F, who got married last week to her wife Ifru, 24F. They had been dating just under a year and decided to have an intimate wedding with me and about 20 other guests. Bianca does not get along with my fiancée Millie, 29F. Bianca has no contact at all with Millie, refuses to come to our house, and has been quite low contact with me for the last year or so because of an argument she had with Millie. As expected, Bianca did not invite Millie to the wedding, but invited me as a guest. Millie said she did not mind if I went without her, which I thought was very gracious in the face of rudeness. However, we recently found out that Millie is a few weeks pregnant with our first child, and she has been anxious and having panic attacks all the way through her pregnancy. The morning of the wedding, I found Millie crying on the sofa and literally shaking. I asked what was wrong and she said she felt very panicky and unsafe alone. I offered to stay home since she was so ill and I was worried about her, but she insisted I go to the wedding. I was too concerned to go without her, so I messaged Ifru, informed her of the situation and that Millie would be coming with me in case she had a medical emergency while I was away. Ifru did not respond until we were already dressed up and halfway to the venue. Ifru told us that Millie was not to set foot at the wedding, but at that point I had no other option and I wanted to be there for Bianca. It did not go well. Bianca did not speak to me the whole way through the wedding and kept giving ugly looks to Millie. At the reception, there obviously wasn't a place set for Millie and an extra chair had to be squeezed in. Bianca, I cut some food and fed her off my own plate, so I did not think it was a big deal. Ifru came to me after dinner, said that Bianca was not doing a father-daughter dance with me and gave me a list of complaints. She said she was disgusted by Millie's dress because it was red, and that Millie was wrong to introduce herself as stepmother to Bianca, and that Millie should not have mentioned her pregnancy at all. Millie only mentioned her pregnancy because she was offered a little cake, and cake makes her sick because of the pregnancy hormones. Ifru told us to leave after dinner and I agreed, so I did not upset Bianca. However, when Millie stood up, her stomach cramped and she fell over. It only made a tiny scene, but I rushed her out and we sat in another room for 20 minutes until she felt better. Ifru's mother came in at that point while I was just calming Millie down and made us get out. Since then, Ifru and Millie's maternal family have been sending me angry messages about how rude we were, and Ifru has told me they want no contact for the foreseeable future. Update 3, the dad's wedding. I, 53M, married my long-term fiancée, now wife, Millie, last week. We have a child together, 9 months F, who I will call Penny, and I have an older daughter with my ex-wife, who I will call Bianca, 24F. Millie and Bianca do not see eye to eye, and Bianca has been very low contact with me for the last few years as a result of several disagreements between the two. These stemmed from Millie moving into my house and taking over a room Bianca used as a music studio, and Millie taking ill at Bianca's wedding, which Bianca perceived as Millie trying to steal the spotlight. Bianca has only met her little sister 2 or 3 times, and always insists on meeting her outside my house with my wife not present. After my ex-wife died, I kept her wedding ring, engagement ring, and other bits of jewelry. Bianca immediately inherited some of the jewelry, and I kept other, most important, bits back, including the wedding and engagement rings, without telling Bianca. When Millie was pregnant with Penny, I revealed to Bianca I had her mother's engagement ring and offered it to her if she would come to the baby shower and participate in our family. She turned me down, refused to come to the shower, and has never expressed any interest in her mother's other jewelry since. I had not directly told Bianca I had her mother's wedding ring, but she also never asked. So, I decided that, since Bianca had decided to turn down the promise of the engagement ring, she would not be too fussed about other jewelry. My ex-wife's wedding ring was very beautiful with a very distinctive stone, and I liked the symbolism of my former and future wives being connected, so I asked Millie whether she would like to use the ring. She was absolutely delighted as she loves the ring, and agreed. So, I invited Bianca to wedding and she eventually agreed, with the promise of not being in any family photos and not having to attend the reception. I thought this was a good compromise that would allow us to rebuild the relationship slowly. There was an argument when Millie refused to invite Bianca's wife as the wedding is in a Catholic church, but I calmed Bianca down and agreed to sit her with her grandparents and aunts at the ceremony. Millie was absolutely delighted that Bianca agreed to come, as she really wanted to start to build bridges and reconcile. Bianca attended the wedding and all went well until it came to the exchange of rings. As the rings were presented, Bianca must have recognized Millie's ring, and simply stood up and walked out the church. We did not realize she had left until after the ceremony, and Millie was absolutely beside herself. It completely ruined the ceremony. She was drunk, and cried the entire night. She's become extremely depressed and does nothing but lie on the sofa. I tried to contact Bianca that night, and managed to get through to her wife. She called Millie a B-word and a manipulator who stole Bianca's heirloom. This is not true. I have since been blocked by Bianca and her wife, and this has completely ruined the memory of our special day. I do plan to check on Bianca's well-being at some point, but, in the meantime, was I wrong?